Hey everyone, Robert Ferringo here once again with Raphael Esparza, bringing you What Are the Odds? Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us, and happy Friday to everyone. Be sure to like and subscribe so you can get access to all of Doc Sports handicapper free play videos, informative content, everything that we have to offer from the number one name in the sports information industry. Also, be sure to take advantage of that free 60 link down in the description. That will take you to Doc Sports, and you can use that $60, same as cash, good for any handicapper, any package in any sport. So, all right, Raphael, what are the odds? We like to talk about odds makers, why they do what they do, how they do what they do. I know you have a lot of experience with that, being a former sportsbook manager in Las Vegas and also doing some work with sportsbooks on the side. Now, you have a fantastic story that we were talking about before we came on that I really want you to share about just how dangerous it can be for odds makers like yourself.
Yeah, I mean, people people know that I still do odds, but people don't realize that they actually, I would say 90% of the stuff that I do are actually live. You can go to, I sent them to all over books, statewide and global wide. Most of the statewide books have too many rules and they don't post them. But here in New Orleans, last Friday, we had 10 prison escapees, escape prison, walk out to one and walk. They ran out the front door. So, they caught two of them right away, three the second one, so they caught three. So someone from good old state of Mississippi, like, hey, Raphael, you're on our radio all the time. Can you put odds on this? Like, we want to see if this would go viral and stuff like that. So what do you, of course you think I did? Ferringo, I put odds on it. I
Of
did
course.
two. I did two of them, and I'll read them on the air right now. The first one was, will all New Orleans prisoner escapees be captured by May 31st, 2025? Over yes was plus 150, no -$2. So no is actually now minus 240 right now. So that is still live, and I'll tell you why the other one is not live anymore. The second one was how many New Orleans prisoners escapees are found alive. I think that's why some people got upset. Over 5.5 minus 105, under 5.5 minus 125. So I put these odds up. Couple radio stations, couple media outlets. Send them all over to New Orleans. All my media outlet friends here, channels, all TV, radio, sportscasters. Oh, it's funny. This is great. Can we use this? Yes, go ahead and use it. But if we get a phone call on Tuesday, because my emails all have my name on it. You see my email and stuff like that. It has my phone number and email address. So get a phone call Tuesday from the New Orleans District 8 police officer. Hey, Raphael, those odds that you did, we're getting a lot of feedback on them. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, the prisoner ones. I'm like, oh, you saw him? He's like, yeah. He's like, please tell me you don't have any inside information in the prison. I'm like, no. Do you know anybody in the sheriff's department? I'm like, no. Did you speak to anybody in the sheriff's department? I'm like, no. Like, you might be getting a phone call from some other people today. We had to give them your number or stuff like. I'm like, that's fine. Maybe 2 hours later, feds call me. Oh, first I got an email, and then they called me. I forgot about they got me an email. Asked the same questions. Do I have any inside information? Blah, 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 blah. Same questions. I talked to them. I'm like, no, 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 no. How'd you do these numbers? I'm like, it's called research, people. It's not, anything like this is public knowledge. It's all public. It just takes a lot of reading, a lot of research, going back to other prisoner breaks that I've dug deep in with other states and see how long it took them, multiple people who escaped, where they catch them and stuff. So I told him all this information I get him. Then he goes, well, can you find out if any bets were taking in the state of Louisiana? I'm like, yes, I can find that out for you. It's probably going to take maybe a couple hours. I don't have physical access to that. I just have physical access of what's money coming in, what's money coming out. I don't have customers' numbers. I don't want any of that. I don't want to be responsible to all that. It's going to take. So I get it back. At that time, 44 tickets were written on that, on total prep bets. 0 were in the South. 0 were in the South, which is glad, because I don't know what I would have done if 44 tickets were here in the States and stuff like that. Then then I talked to sheriff department. I had a big powwow Zoom meeting with all them. They were just asking me everything. And I told them, like, hey, you know what? I got the same bad feedback many moons ago when I did the Pope odds first. I got a phone call and email from the Vatican. I don't know if I had inside information. Was someone leaking stuff out? I go, people, it's research. I go the same amount of research I do for that than I'm doing right now for the Star Wars movies prop bets that I'm doing, which is not till 2027. So it's funny how people don't realize that I'm just putting up numbers just to put up numbers, where some people do in our industry. Oh, I made this number -6. The number should be -3. My number is -6. Well, okay. What if you're just gonna get flooded? I'll take your -6. How much action can you give me on it? Because it's a bad number.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. You do a lot of the odds that you do presently are like entertainment odds, prop odds, just like random stuff. Right?
I have flag football. I have who be the starting quarterback for the USA Olympic flag football.
Exactly. Like you're not setting the number in the WNBA games this weekend.
I used to, not no more.
Correct. So that's the thing. So I think that's hysterical that they're taking it that seriously, that they're worried about leaks. I want to say hi to the feds right now because I guarantee that they are definitely listening to every conversation. Like they got your phone tapped. They're in your house right there. So we'll say hi to them. We will welcome them to What Are the Odds? But yeah,
maybe they'll like the free $60. So if you're watching, folks, free $60. Our daily packages are $30. So if you pick my baseball daily package and Ferringo's daily package, you got 2 handicappers for the price of one, a free $60.
Free. That's absolutely free. That's right. You are welcome. Take it. Take advantage of it, people. All right. Also, fun story, but also, like you said, it shows everyone the depth of knowledge and research and time and focus that someone like you puts into something like this. This is why you're the exceptional handicapper that you are. This is why we're professionals, right? Is we don't mess around with this stuff. Like we dig in, find out what the odds should be, and put them out there. So with that in mind, I will use that to transition to a game that jumped right off the board at me today. It's the NBA game. Game 2, Knicks Pacers. Everyone knows about the meltdown in game 1, so we don't have to touch on that a ton. However, take this little journey here with me, Raphael. So this would normally be kind of a stay away situation for me because it's like, we don't know how the Knicks are going to respond to like an epic collapse like that, right? Like where they are mentally, okay? But you wake up this morning, you see the number is -6, which is higher than where it opened in game number 1. And not only is it -6, but 70% of the action nearly is coming in on the Pacers. So that's just weird as it is. But then right around noon, that number starts to quiver a little bit. It goes to 6.5 at several sports books. This is the quintessential reverse line movement, okay, where the public is all on one side, the line is going the other. So my handicapper spidey sense kicked in, and now I actually think the Knicks are a play. Like, what are your thoughts on where this number is, how and why it's moving, and am I insane for wanting to bet the Knicks?
I think a lot of Joe Public money is coming in. Oh, it's a zigzags theory. They lost game 1. They're going to bounce back. They need this game. I think that's the reason why money came in, and you saw 6. Actually, Caesars now has 5.5 in this game, which I think Pacer money is going to probably come in for the rest of the evening. So it wouldn't shock me if it closes at 5.5. It's not going to go to 5, and we're not going to see 6.5 or 7. So I think it's going to be in between those two numbers. But I understand. I mean, I just think the Pacers overall are the better team. They're a deeper team. I mean, the Knicks wasted a lot of extra minutes for their 5 guys that they only played to go into an overtime game. What's the mentality of the Knicks coming into this game? But I just think a lot of that public money is the zigzag theory. We always hear about it and stuff like that. Oh, they can't lose 2 games at home now. Well, that's the Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah, you can. You can lose 2 games if you're playing against a dominating team. So this can happen as well. I'm fascinated in this game. I want to see how the Knicks come out. And I'll tell you what my play was today. It's I don't know if 3 going to play. I could care less. I mean, I played the over in the first quarter in this game. I think we're going to see a lot of points scored in this game. They scored 70 points in the first quarter of this game. If you're the Knicks, you need to come out hot to maybe try to get that mentality of, I can't believe we blew game 1. And you need to get a different mentality. I think we're going to see a lot of points scored in the first half, probably an under type game in the second half.
Okay. A lot of thoughts. First, I want to say I did Docs Daily today, and Craig Trapp actually released a free play that I really, really like that I am 100% going to bet. It's Knicks first quarter in this game, and I agree with his reasoning. I do think that the Knicks are going to come out with their hair on fire. I think they're going to come out hard in the first quarter, okay? But part of the reason why we've seen Indiana make all these comebacks, right, is like you handicap boxing, so you understand like a guy that punches themselves out, right? They get tired. They punch themselves out early, fade late, and then they get knocked down. I feel like that's what happens with Indiana because they play at the fastest pace and the fastest tempo in the NBA, that opens the door for a team like the Knicks, who played a slow pace, one of the slowest paces in the NBA, to just come out full bore, get caught up in that back and forth and playing the Pacers games, taking the lead early, and then losing it slowly late. And look, I want to say, I agree with you on the Pacers. They're the better team. I don't like laying this many points to teams that can score the way that they can. I think this number is too high just in general. Like everything about handicapping this from like a nuts and bolts perspective points towards the Pacers. But that's why the odd line movement and the imbalance in the money and that reverse line movement, that's the only reason I like the Knicks. And also, it is, back me up here, you're talking about this number going up to 6.5 at some books, coming down to 5.5, where you think it could drag. That is not normal line movement in a playoff game, right? Like normally you'll get one-way movement, up or down, okay? And once the ball starts rolling downhill or uphill, it continues. But for a line to jump up and then jump down past where it's open, that is rare, right? Like that's kind of a rare red flag, don't you think?
Yeah, and it's rare what we saw in game one to a team blow such a big lead at home and then lose into overtime. So both situations are rare. That's why I think the line movement in here is rare. That's why I really don't have an opinion for the whole game in general. Now, am I going to live bet this? I'll probably I'll watch this and see what the numbers are doing at live bet. And why wouldn't you? Because you can have two, three different scenarios in your head, and none of them will come true because this game is probably going to be another wacky one.
Yeah, and I mean, like New York, it's like turnabout's fair play, right? Like they did that to Boston. In that Boston series, they were coming from behind down 20. It happens to them. It would not shock me again if either one of these teams gets up or down by 15 points or 12 points tonight and ends up losing the game. So you touched on it. Live betting is where it's at in the NBA.
And really. I think last night's outcome, I think that's why a lot of people are maybe going to bet a little bit more Pacer money late, just because I think people are going to realize this. I think the Pacers are the better overall team. Yes, there's Brunson, there's Cat, but the Pacers have guys all over the place that can come in. They have white guys that can burn Brunson on defense and have easy layups throughout the whole game. And we saw it last night where a lot of Minnesota money came in late, thinking, it's going to be a much closer game. Cat's going to have a big game. Randall is going to have a big game, which he's had really good games in the playoffs before. He was MIA yesterday. He was sitting on my couch watching the second half part of the game just because of how bad he played. And then OKC was just too dominant yesterday.
Okay, perfect transition to Saturday's game. Oklahoma City at Minnesota. Oklahoma City up 2-0 in the series. Number is at 2.5. That's low. There's no way that's going to hold overnight. Correct. Like I was expecting to see this, especially when you factor in what we saw some of the road favorites in earlier series in the playoffs. I was expecting this number to be around 4.5. Even that felt kind of light to me, to be completely honest with you. But 2.5 is not going to hold, is it?
But it opened up at 4, and it was 4 for DraftKings and MGM. It was 4. I'm sorry to do this on air.
No, that's fine.
35 minutes. It was 4 and went from 4 to 3. And then 3.5 looks like it was only 3.5 for both places for 25 minutes. And then it's been 3 and then 3 and 2.5.
See, that's interesting. I did not realize that it opened there and back down, indicating big bettors early on Minnesota.
Yep.
I am reading this completely the opposite way. I'm on Oklahoma.
Could not agree more.
I'm on Oklahoma. Like, not just in this series, like basically every game that Oklahoma City plays in the rest of the postseason, I will be on Oklahoma City. They are obviously the best team. They are obviously going to win the title. So why jump in the way of that? They have shown that they don't just beat teams, they pulverize them. Yeah, am I wrong here? Like what?
No, and they're a team that they know if they're cold on 3-point land, they're gonna shoot jumpers and drive to the paint. Where most of these teams now, they're just gonna continue to jack up threes, and if you're not hitting them, you're not hitting them. How many free throws did SJ have yesterday? Every time, not yesterday, but every time I blinked my eye, he was on a free throw line. Why? Because he was going to the paint. I don't care. Oh, he wasn't fouled. Well, when you go to the paint all the time, you're going to get calls. And you're going to shoot jumpers at the elbow and make them. I mean, that's what Oklahoma City was doing all game long. And the Cat and all that, SGA, they're jacking up. No, he wasn't jacking up threes. Everyone else on the other side, Ant-Man and all that, they were still jacking up threes, but they weren't.
They're jacking up threes because they can't get in the paint because Oklahoma City is just they're too big, too long, too strong. I thought coming into the series that Minnesota actually matched up pretty well with the size and strength of the Thunder, but that is not how it has played out. I feel like Oklahoma City is physically manhandling them on top of the fact that their star player, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is just better right now than Anthony Edwards is. Frankly,
he's playing, the big men that
playing better basketball right now.
OKC's big men, they're not strong, they're really lengthy, but they run back and forth in the court, and I think it gasses out Minnesota's big men that they have to chase these guys all over the court. I mean, Chet Holmgren's always almost the first player down. If he didn't grab the rebound, he's probably the first player on offense. He's jetting down to get position on this. So I think they're gassed out just running around.
And Rudy Gobert, this is where Rudy Gobert's weakness on the offensive end is really coming back to hurt Minnesota because the only team that's had success has been Denver against them. How? With Jokic, with pounding the ball inside. You're right. They aren't physically imposing in terms of like girth and strength on the interior. So you can bang those guys a little bit. But Gobert is not the type of guy that's going to go out and drop 32 points on you. He's not the type of guy that you can run an offense through to open things up for those shooters. So
Naz Reid isn't that guy. He wants to shoot threes all day long. He's not going to go in the middle.
Right. So the fact that they just don't have enough layers, I feel like, to their offensive game on that end of the court to solve this Oklahoma City defense. So I think this one is going to be maybe Minnesota steals one of these next two games, possibly, but this series isn't going more than 5 games. And like I said, I just think it's fait accompli that Oklahoma City is going to win the title. If they win, let's assume I'm right, and Oklahoma City covers this game 3. What would you project Monday's game 4 number to be?
They're going to open up 4.5, 5. I mean, you open it up 4 being 2-0. Now you're 3-0 and stuff like that. 4.5, 5. I think they close it out.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. All right, we're going to shift to the other playoffs going on right now. Hockey, Friday night, Edmonton at Dallas. Edmonton with their own mini meltdown in game 1, taking that 3-1 lead into the end of the third period, and then getting absolutely boat raced, allowing 5 goals in that third period to lose game 1. Raphael, I understand the talent of Edmonton. I understand that they were in the finals last year. Dallas is a slim favorite in this game. I think it's -115 around there. Dallas a little undervalued still, don't you think? Don't you think they're not getting the respect that they kind of deserve for what they've accomplished already in the playoff and just how they're playing right now?
I knew they opened up at -130, and I knew we were going to see some Oilers money. Just they had a better talent, better offense, better names in the leagues. But I didn't think I was going to get -110 over at Caesars, -112 over at FanDuel. I thought maybe -120, 122, something around there. But pretty much a pick'em game now at home. Now, I do think the overreaction on offense and the goals we saw, I think the books a little bit overreacted, posting a solid 6.5 right away. I think there's some value on the under. I think we're not going to see a goal fest like we saw in game 1. I mean, between the 5, you said the 5 unanswered goals, 6-3 final. I think we'll see a little bit more defensive play, especially in Dallas. They're really good on defense at home, so I don't see we're going to see goals tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, I disagreed with Nick Menken on Doxdale about the same thing. He really liked the over in tonight's game. The last 3 games between those two teams there have been 7 or more goals. However, just by the nature of this being a really important playoff game, right? Whoever wins this game is going to have momentum in the series one way or another. That I think it'll be a little bit they'll play a little bit closer to the vest, if that makes sense. And I do think that it'll be a little bit lower scoring. 6.5 that's a big number. It's a big number. Okay. Speaking of big numbers, Florida is at home in Carolina, game 2. They laid a whoop on Carolina in both of those games. They get up 2-0 like that, it seemed like, in game 1, win 5-2. Okay, Carolina, backs against the wall. You can't lose 2 in a row at home, right? They get whooped 5-0 in game 2. I got to tell you, Raphael, game 3, the odds for Saturday's game, Florida is only minus 150 at home. That seems low to me, given how big their numbers have been throughout the entire playoffs. Does that seem a little low to you? I mean, they were minus 240 or whatever it was at home against Toronto when that was still like a series, really. They just hammered Carolina twice. Now they're only minus 150. What am I missing here?
Yeah, I thought surely we're going to be a minus 165 or maybe even a little bit higher on this one. So I was a little confused with you on this one. Maybe they just want NHL action, because what I've seen last couple of games, the NHL playoff action has not been as what we've been seeing in NBA action. Yeah, watching playoff, yeah, I'll watch hockey playoffs any day of the week. Betting, NBA is always going to be thrumping NHL when it comes to big. So maybe they're just trying to get betting action on there, because they're probably sitting pretty, because they had probably a lot of action on Dallas and Edmonton to win the cup or win the series. So they're probably just sitting pretty on this one. But it's fascinating that Florida come home 2-0, not even played a home game yet in this series, and your series price is minus $7 now. It's fascinating to see that. I just give, in my eyes, what I've seen, just give them the cup. We don't need to play anymore. They just been dominating. They just been. It's like why? But I did another interview. It's like watching WWE on ice. They just out hit. They're faster. They're impressive. I didn't think they were going to be close to a repeat. I thought, because they had their struggles all season long. They had some good play around and some bad runs. Wow, what they've done in the playoffs, just give them the cup again.
Yeah, I agree with you. I said the exact same thing. It looks like it's over. They're gonna win. I think Dallas matches up with them better than Edmonton does, 100%. I think that could be a more competitive series. But Florida, just like Oklahoma City, they just look so much the better team. So, I don't know. If you are watching the show right now, if you like Florida tomorrow, bet it now, because that 150 is not going to hold overnight. That number is only going one way, and it's going towards the Panthers. So, all right, another big game I wanted to touch on. We will get to baseball in a minute. There's plenty of time to talk baseball all summer, so I'm not in a huge hurry to get to that. But big game in the WNBA on Saturday. We have the New York Liberty at Indiana. So the champs are going to face Caitlin and the up-and-comers. Interesting. I just checked on this. This number was 1.5 earlier. New York favored on the road in Indiana. I see it's up to 2.5 now, obviously indicating the early money is coming in on the Liberty. Do you think that is going to continue to push the number that way, or do you think the public's going to jump in tomorrow? Early start time, which is
horrible.
I don't understand it. Apparently, television executives, Raphael, must have access to much different information than you and I have, because you've noticed that this has become more of the trend over the last 6 months. I'm talking in all sports. Best college football games put on noon or early in the day. Playoff games, NBA playoff games put on early in the day. This game at 1:00. So do you think the public jumps in tomorrow to manipulate this number at all, or do you think everything keeps going New York's way?
I think Caitlin money will come in. I don't think it's good. We're not going to see 3, and I don't think we're going to see 1.5 again. So it wouldn't shock me if we see a 2 a closing number. But New York has just been very impressive. I mean, they shot up, they made 19 threes to break the record. And Sabrina always wants to play her best game when she's playing against Caitlin. So I think New York has so far been very impressive in their games. And don't forget, the Fever have struggled. And besides blowing out Chicago, me and you can probably blow out Chicago, what they've looked like it's been on the court. So I'm throwing that game out of my mental game, out of the grain of salt, because I just think the Chicago team is not good. But they struggled with the Dream. And if you play really good defense and take everyone out of the equation and just let let the girl score her points. Let Caitlin Clark score her points and take everyone out like they did yesterday. And Caitlin Clark struggled. So they're beatable this year. Yes, they have good new pieces, but they're still beatable.
Yeah, I kind of love New York in this spot, to be completely honest with you. From their perspective, defending, it's hard when you're the defending champions to get up for regular season games, right? We see this in all sports. The champs come in, they usually kind of coast through the regular season the next year. It's hard to get up for them. They're going to be up for this game because they know the eyeballs that are going to be on them. They know Caitlin Clark is going to be involved. So I feel like New York, they're going to be playing on the road. New York's going to take this as a challenge, and I think they're going to throw their best punch. And Indiana is a team coming into the season. I said it several other places. There's only one way to play Indiana in the WNBA this year, betting on them. You got to bet against them. You got to bet against them. The value is betting against Indiana. Okay, especially early in the season. You got a new coach and several new players. Did they increase their talent level from last year? Absolutely. They are definitely going to be a better team. But that takes time. It takes time with a new coach. It takes time with new players and new rotations. Even with a savant like Caitlin Clark, it takes time for her teammates to get used to how she plays, right? It's going to take a minute for them to get there, and they're not there yet. And that's why they're struggling a little bit against the number, why they lost that game outright against Atlanta, and why I think that they could get taken to the woodshed tomorrow. I really think that New York is a strong play. Do you think I'm right or wrong about Indiana in the short and the long term?
Oh yeah, I like the Liberty in the spot if I can get the number. Now, when you're looking at WNBA games in general, and especially Indiana Fever games, if you see your number, bet your number, because they move numbers like a drop in a hat when it comes to WNBA. The limits are low. Most of the action they're probably are getting in some of these games are wise guy action on that one. So if you're looking for a number, wait. If you see your number that you think it should be, bet it now, because that number could be gone in a blink of a hat. That's why I think if you like Indiana, maybe buy a half point or get that +3. If you like the Liberty, see if the Caitlin Clark action comes in effect and you can get a better number tomorrow morning, stuff like that. So especially in the NBA, and I would say CFL and UFL as well, but especially in the WNBA, these numbers move very, very quickly.
They move quickly and they move a lot. They will move multiple points. It's not incremental like what we see in the NBA. So, all right, let's before we wrap up here, let's talk some baseball, Raphael. You got a particular series or matchup, or did anything about Friday's numbers jump out at you?
The Angels did, just because I mean, I don't understand. Yes, they're not going to win the World Series. I know that, but how they were disrespected for 3 straight games in the Little League Park of Sacramento. Yes, right, Sacramento A's, plus money all 3 games. And what did they do? They swept them. Oh, good. They swept the Dodgers this year as well. Now they're playing the Marlins, and they have Sandy. I cannot pitch under an ERA of 7. Alicante is on the mound today. And you're telling me the total was only 8.5. You're telling me I only had to lay, I think the opening number was -130. Again, I know the Angels aren't going to win the World Series. I know they have a pitcher in Kyle Hendricks that can't throw a fastball over 82 miles per hour. But give them some respect. I think if you can get good numbers against the Marlins, I know they're at home. I know they're on, I think they came back from a 10-game road trip. I think the Angels were on. They're finally home. If you get a good number, momentum is everything. You know this in any sport and anything in life. Momentum is everything. What are the Angels' momentum right now? They're still talking about the Dodgers sweep. They're probably talking about what they just did the last road trip. They got momentum on their side. So if you can get a good number all weekend long, even if they lose tonight's game, if you see a good number on the Angels for this weekend, I say take it, because right now they're playing with free money. And if you're playing I've been playing the Angels since they swept the Dodgers. If I see a good number, I've been playing them just because it's good value.
Yeah. I mean, they've won 7 in a row. This is the best they're going to play all year. I'm going to take full credit for that, by the way, because it was just a couple weeks ago that when I was talking about the Rockies and how they were an automatic bet against -1.5 for as long as possible. I said the Angels were approaching that territory where I'm looking to bet against them every day. They buried me last weekend in that Dodgers series, and now they have kept winning. But this is the great thing about baseball, right? Teams get hot, teams get cold. Everybody goes on a little run at some point. I get to just sit here and patiently wait for the Angels to get all this out of their system, for this winning streak to get snapped and then go back to just being a bad baseball team, which they are. But you're right.
But that's why I said this weekend.
Yeah, right. No, you're 100% right. It's about momentum. Like, bad teams can win 12 games in a row or win 14 out of 16. They're doing it right now, and they've been cashing a lot of tickets as underdogs. So I'm with you 100%. I'm just like, I'm going to wait 2 weeks, and 2 weeks from now, I bet they got a 2-10 run. And I'll look to
when Trout comes back. When Trout comes back,
right. That poor guy. So, okay, the series that kind of jumped out at me that I'm kind of interested in this weekend is the Mets and Dodgers. Kind of feeling like a little bit of a good buy low spot for the Dodgers because they just haven't been playing very good baseball. As you mentioned, they got swept, then they lose the first game of that Arizona series. Snap back and win that series, but they're still playing they're 5-5 in their last 10 games. They've been playing 500 ball for a couple of weeks now, very un-Dodger like. The Mets are a team that I feel like very good team, but I feel like they've overachieved a little bit to this point in the season. The Mets are at home, so they're going to get a little bit more love. What do you think about Dodger value this weekend going up against New York?
I looked at this series. You know me, I like to play weekend series prices in baseball. And I looked at looking at the Dodgers, but then I saw who was pitching on Game Friday was Curtin Kershaw. And his last outing, he was throwing up 18-inch softballs up there. His fastball had nothing on him. His curveball break was nothing. And even his rotation, they were even showing it the next day. I forgot what station I was watching, but they were showing even his spin rotation was way off. Right. So we were getting him now on game one. So if they lose game one, now I have to wait for a Saturday and Sunday win. I think that's what kind of scared me out of this one. But they're due for a long run. They've been playing average baseball, the Dodgers. That lineup should not be average coming into any series you're playing. And the Mets offense has not been. Yes, I know what they scored 5 runs the last game against Boston.
That's the 10 games before that, they had been awful.
Yeah. So it's not like their bats are been all over the place. So I understand how, yes, there's good value in the Dodgers, but I just couldn't pull the trigger because of who was pitching on Friday. I didn't want to be behind the 8 ball on the Saturday and Sunday.
How much do you attribute Kershaw's struggles to just being his first start after a lot of time off? And how much of it do you think is this guy might be done? This guy might be shot.
I hate to say I think this guy might be done. I mean, there's rumors that Rich Hill is trying to make a comeback. I'm like, really? I mean,
good grief.
Clinton Kershaw, if he looks like that because he's almost done, why is Rich Hill, who's 80, I think, coming back until and it's sad. I mean, I love watching. I'm not the biggest Dodger fan, even though my uncle, one of my favorite uncles, is a huge Dodger fan. He looks like Fernando Valenzuela too. My uncle, when he goes to Cub games, he's with him. People would always think he's Fernando Valenzuela, but I always loved watching Clayton Kershaw pitch. I mean, the younger days he was unhittable.
Yeah, tonight's going to be a really telling start for him. New York
he usually pitches well against the Mets too.
He does. Historically, he has. But the Mets have also been hitting left-handed pitching pretty well to start the season. So that is going to be a really interesting watch. It's basically a pick-em game tonight. Dodgers and Mets both -110. I haven't seen odds for Saturday or Sunday's games yet. I think a lot of it's going to determine on how they look tonight. But if the Dodgers do lose game one, like they did against Arizona, I actually think that'll increase the value on them, and I will be looking to play them on Saturday or Sunday. Something about the Mets, it's the fact that they're the Mets that I don't trust them. And the Dodgers, I mean, they're just playing possum, I feel like, and they're going to hit June or hit July and go, 22-6 or something like that and have a big month. It's coming. It's just a matter of when. So, all right, Raphael, do you have a free play to give out to anyone before we leave here?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Pacers team total over 109.5. I already told you the first quarter. Love that first quarter over. But the Pacers have hit this number in 7 out of their last 8 playoff games. This year alone in the playoffs, they're averaging 117 points a game. The 4 meetings this year that they played the Knicks, they're averaging 120 points a game. So I'm actually leaning towards Pacers win this game. I'm just myself as for mental mentality that I think the Knicks will show out in this game. I just think the Pacers give it to them again because of their offense and because of their depth that they have and the Knicks don't. I think we're going to see a high scoring game.
Hey, one of us is either going to be really, really right, or one of us is either going to be really, really wrong. You know, I like the Knicks. We've seen them blow teams out in MSG in this postseason. I think they have, you know, everything about the collapse, they were up 20 points. You know, they were up 14 with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left. They were the better team for 99% of that game. Even though I do agree with you, I think that Indiana is a better team in this series. I think they win this series, but not necessarily this game. I like the Knicks -6.5. I like Oklahoma City tomorrow. I like Florida tomorrow. I like the New York Liberty tomorrow. So I don't have any more free plays, Raphael. I've given out a bunch of free plays in this video. So hopefully that leads to a very successful next 24 hours for anyone that is watching and listening. So, all right, we're going to wrap it up. We will be back again next Friday with What Are the Odds? Again, thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with us. Carpe diem and good luck.